In my opinion, Frank Miller wrote the best Batman story when he wrote Dark Knight Returns. But, fuck that. How about today we talk about the time Frank Miller wrote the worst Batman story? I'm Jack from Heroic Nerds, and today we're going to talk about Allstar Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder. Wow, that really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Hey, for those of you who don't know, Frank Miller used to be one of the greatest writers of all time. He wrote Sin City, Ronin, and my favorite Batman story, The Dark Knight Returns. Which is iconic, and it changed Batman, and it did so much for the character. And he followed it up with Batman Year One. But then, crazy old Frank Miller started going downhill. And there's plenty of videos online about how his later work just kind of fell apart. And Frank Miller has a hatred for just the world in general, to a point in which it almost feels racist or offensive to almost everybody. He's angry at everything. So today I thought I'd talk about All-Star Batman and Robin, because this accentuates Frank Miller's angry, just dark persona so damn well. Okay, let's start with the positives. This book is drawn by Jim Lee. The art is beautiful. It's spectacular. It is one of the best Batman books I have ever seen. It is like, oh, it's visual porn. It is beautiful. These amazingly well laid out pages. Everybody is sexy and buff and beautiful. And Jim Lee is one of the greatest artists of all time. He's just the fucking best. And on to the other positive things about this issue, this book. There is literally nothing else positive to say about this book, apart from the art is really pretty and makes me want to go read Batman Hush or Superman Unchained, because fuck, this is beautiful art. Okay, but I know you're wondering, hey, what was the story? Okay, let me start with the story. The story takes place after Year One, because this book is really self-indulgent. It is Frank Miller playing off what Frank Miller did in the past, his past glories. And it's been a few months since Batman Year One, and Batman is at the circus. And wouldn't you know it, the Flying Graysons are in town. And suddenly, somebody shoots them. They're dead, they're gone, oh boy, that's the end of them. Except for one young boy by the name of Dick Grayson. And he's taken away, he's hauled off by the police. But Batman, this is the first thing I want to tell you about this Batman, he doesn't trust the police. He fucking hunts them down, he brutalizes and injures these police, and my god, Frank Miller takes just so much time and care to tell us how much he hates the police in this. It's insane. But Batman abducts this child and just starts interrogating him. He's the worst. He beats, he barrage this child. He tells him he's the fucking worst. And he gives Robin no other choice but to come with him. He abducts Robin. In normal Batman continuity, he adopts him as his ward. But in this, he abducts this kid who just saw his parents die. And now Batman is basically bullying him. After this, Batman goes on several different adventures. And we see the world isn't happy with Batman. Vicky Vale's doing a story behind him. Alfred's kind of, oh, Master Bruce, should you be doing this kind of thing? It's weird. It's Batman. We see in this book that Frank Miller is trying to set up another one of his classic versus matches, because Frank Miller plays off what Frank Miller does well, and everybody remembers the Batman versus Superman fight from Dark Knight Returns. It is maybe the most iconic Batman fight. Zack Snyder tried to make a whole movie about it last year. He failed, but he tried, and trying is what counts. Anyway, he tries setting this up by having Wonder Woman come to Gotham and meet Superman, Green Lantern, and Plastic Man. They're the first version of the Justice League in this universe, and they're gonna go sort out this bat problem. But the characterization of the Justice League is just like, wow! Let's talk about characterization when we are on the Justice League, actually. Start with Batman. He's fucking insane. Batman is this dark, brooding, and edgy, just crazy man in a bat costume. Frank Miller is playing into the idea of Batman just being a psycho, but I don't think he's doing it on purpose. He's just making him insane. This book spawned The amazing and also tragic meme of "I'm the goddamn Batman," that's where this comes from. The version of Alfred, because Frank Miller always has to do an old man. He always has to do this gruff old man who's seen too much. You got the guy from Sin City. You've got Batman in The Dark Knight Returns. You've got Daredevil, or somebody in his Daredevil run. But in this, it's old man Alfred. He's projecting himself as Alfred, which makes sense when you see like the sexy, like dark and brooding Alfred who's punching the shit out of stuff, and he's patching up Vicky Vale even when she passes out. There's a real creepy vibe to the sexy Alfred. He might be the sexiest Alfred after Michael Caine. He's still the sexiest Alfred. Wonder Woman is just this man-hating beast of a person. She is introduced in issue 2 or 3, I believe, and in doing so, her first opening line, and this is not me changing anything, this is her opening line. She's walking through the streets of Gotham. A man tries to come up to her, and she turns to him with a cold, blank stare. "Out of my way, sperm bank." Ew. Oh god, that is not something you want to hear Wonder Woman say. That's not something you want to hear anybody say. Never mind Wonder Woman, the female icon of the DC universe. A character who's all about love and help and teaching others to grow and better themselves. Nah, she's just like, fuck you, you're a man, get out of my way. And she goes in, she meets the Justice League, and she like belittles Superman in front of Green Lantern and Plastic Man. And Superman gets angry. Superman's a raging bull in this. He's just smashing his way through stuff, because for some reason Frank Miller loves painting Superman as the bad guy. I have no idea, but why not? Then him and Wonder Woman start making out for some reason. Robin is probably the most believable in this because he gets Stockholm syndrome. He's just like, okay, I'm working for this crazy man. I might as well do what he says. It's really weird and angry. I mean, Green Lantern's done pretty well when he's not being called a retard by Batman, and that's not a misquote. Batman straight up calls Green Lantern a demigod retard. I mean, what the fuck? What is this book? It is by far the worst Batman story I have ever read. That's just a brief plot synopsis, because there's not an awful lot of plot to this. It's Robin's parents are murdered, the Justice League don't like Batman, Green Lantern and Batman fight, because Frank Miller loves doing a versus match. It's weird and gritty and all over the place. And you might have noticed in the intro, and hopefully I've done this, but when I say it's the worst Batman story, I mean it's the worst Batman story, not comic. Because the art is flawless. The way Jim Lee draws these characters is beautiful and expressive. It's some of his best work, but it's just marred and destroyed by Frank Miller's terrible story, which handles all the characters so poorly. This book is just... Final thoughts. This book is just all over the place. I mean, I don't even know why I'm still reading it. I fucking hate this book. I never want to read this book again. 1 out of 5. This book perfectly represents the idea that you never judge a book by its cover. Because this book's cover is fucking beautiful, but it is terrible on the inside. Thanks for watching. I'm happy to get that out of the way. I've been Jack from Heroic Nerds. If you've enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll review a better comic next time. Until then, stay classy.
Okay, copy that.